Kaela's breath tore out of her lungs as branches clawed at her skin. "Run, just run," she whispered to herself, clutching her swollen belly as another contraction threatened to buckle her knees. Behind her, distant howls split the night. They were close. Too close. A root caught her foot and she stumbled, crashing hard against the forest floor. Pain shot up her leg, but worse, her child shifted inside her. A sharp, alarming movement that made her gasp. "No, no, please, just a little longer," she begged, pressing trembling hands to her stomach. A voice echoed in her mind, cold and cruel, one she would never forget. She was never meant to matter. Just a pawn to satisfy the council. Raiden's voice. Her mate. Her king. Kaela squeezed her eyes shut as tears burned through the dirt on her face. "You lied to me." Another howl, closer this time. Her eyes snapped open. Fear surged, wiping away grief. She forced herself up again, ignoring the pain screaming through her body. If she stopped now, they would take everything. They would take her child. "I won't let you," she hissed, staggering forward into the darkness. The wind shifted, and suddenly, silence. Too sudden. Too unnatural. Kaela froze. A shadow stepped out from between the trees. Tall. Still. Watching. Her heart slammed violently against her ribs. "No," she whispered, backing away. The figure moved closer, moonlight revealing a familiar face. Not Raiden. Worse. Malric Voss. His smile was slow, predatory. "Did you really think you could outrun us, little Omega?" Kaela's back hit a tree. Nowhere left to go. She straightened despite her trembling legs, one hand protectively over her belly. "Stay away from me." Malric's eyes flicked to her stomach, interest gleaming. "That child belongs to the Dominion." "No," she snapped, voice breaking but fierce. "He belongs to me." Malric chuckled. "You misunderstand. Omegas don't get to decide such things." A growl rumbled low in her throat, surprising even herself. "I am not your pawn," she said. His expression darkened. "You always were." The word struck deeper than any blade. Because once she had believed them, once she had believed everything, Kaela's mind betrayed her, dragging her back to the beginning, to the moment everything changed. She had been invisible. Just another Omega in the Silverfang Dominion, moving quietly through corridors, avoiding attention, keeping her head down. Until the day the High Alpha chose her. The memory hit like a storm. The hall had been filled with power. Alphas lined in dominance, elders watching from above. And him. Raiden core. Dark-haired, sharp-eyed. Radiating authority that bent the air itself. When his gaze landed on her, the world had stopped. "You," he had said, voice deep, commanding. Kaela had frozen. "Emmy. Come forward." Her legs had barely obeyed, heart pounding as every eye in the room turned to her. An Omega. Chosen. Impossible. But then he stepped closer, his scent wrapping around her, strong and intoxicating. And something inside her responded. Something undeniable. "Mate." The word had echoed through her very soul. Raiden's eyes had darkened, as if he felt it too. "She is mine." Gasps had filled the hall. Kaela's chest had ached with disbelief. Hope. For the first time in her life, hope. Days blurred into something dreamlike after that. Raiden had been intense, consuming. He touched her like she mattered, spoke to her like she wasn't invisible. "Look at me, Kaela," he had murmured once, tilting her chin up. "You don't need to lower your eyes around me." She had searched his face, hesitant. "Why me?" A pause. So brief she almost missed it. "Because you're mine." It hadn't answered her question. But she hadn't cared. Not then. Not when his presence felt like safety. Not when his arms felt like home. She had fallen for him. Completely. Stupidly. And then, that night, Kaela had been walking toward his chambers when she heard voices inside. The council. And Raiden. She hadn't meant to listen. But then, "She's suitable," one of the elders said. "An Omega is controllable." Kaela's breath had hitched. Raiden's voice followed. Calm. Detached. Her role is temporary. The council wanted a mate. She fulfills that requirement. Kaela's world had tilted. Another elder spoke. And the bond. A pause. Longer this time. Then. It changes nothing. She was never meant to matter. Silence. Inside her. Around her. Everything had shattered in that moment. Kaela stumbled back from the memory, her chest heaving as if she were reliving it all over again. I was never meant to matter, she whispered, tears slipping free. Malric watched her with cold amusement. Now you understand your place. Something inside her snapped. No, she said louder this time. His brow lifted slightly. I understand yours, she continued, voice trembling but growing stronger. You think you control everything. You think you can decide who lives, who dies, who matters. She took a step forward. Despite the fear. Despite the pain. But you're wrong. Malric's eyes narrowed. Careful, Omega. My name is Kaela, she shot back. And you will not touch my child. For a moment the air itself seemed to tighten. Then Malric sighed, almost bored. Enough of this. He moved. Fast. Too fast. Kaela barely had time to react before he was in front of her, hand shooting toward her throat. A blur of motion slammed into him. A deafening snarl ripped through the forest. Kaela gasped, stumbling back as two massive forms collided, claws tearing into flesh, power exploding outward. Her heart stuttered. She knew that scent. Even before he shifted back. Raiden. He stood between her and Malric, chest heaving, eyes blazing with fury. Don't touch her, he growled. Kaela's breath caught. For a second the world felt suspended. Then Malric laughed, wiping blood from his lip. Ah, the king finally shows himself. Raiden didn't respond, his focus locked entirely on Kaela. Are you hurt? He asked, voice urgent. The question hit her harder than anything else. Her expression twisted. Don't, she snapped. He flinched. Just slightly. I don't need you to pretend, she continued, anger rising fast, hot, uncontrollable. Not after everything. His jaw tightened. Kaela, don't say my name like you care. Silence fell heavy between them. Even Malric seemed entertained, stepping back to watch. Raiden's voice lowered. I never stopped. Stopped what? She cut in, laughter sharp and broken. Using me? Lying to me? Deciding what I'm worth. His eyes darkened with something unreadable. That's not the truth. Then what is? She demanded. For a moment he said nothing. And that hurt more than anything. Kaela shook her head slowly. Exactly. A small voice broke the tension. Mama. Both of them froze. Kaela turned instantly. A small boy stood at the edge of the clearing, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Eric's. Fear shot through her. Eric's, stay back. But it was too late. Malric's gaze locked onto the child. And his smile returned. Well, isn't this interesting? Kaela's blood ran cold. No. No. Kaela's voice broke as she rushed forward, pulling Eric's behind her. Don't look at him. Don't even see him. But it was too late. Malric's eyes gleamed with dark fascination. So this is what you were hiding, he said slowly, circling them. A child with power I can feel from here. Eric's clung to Kaela's leg, small fingers gripping tightly. Mama, who is that? No one, she said quickly, forcing calm into her voice. Just stay behind me. Raiden stepped closer, his presence like a wall of steel. Malric, walk away. Malric laughed softly. You expect me to walk away from this? From the air you tried so hard to keep hidden. Kaela's head snapped toward Raiden. Air. Raiden didn't look at her. Now isn't the time. You knew, she demanded, fury igniting all over again. You knew what they would do if they found him, and you still. I was protecting you. He cut in, voice low and strained. By lying to me? She shot back. Before he could respond, Malric clapped slowly, mockingly. This is touching. Truly. But we're wasting time. His eyes locked on Eric's. Bring me the child. Kaela's entire body went rigid. Over my dead body. Malric's smile widened. That can be arranged. He lunged. Raiden shifted instantly, intercepting him with brutal force. The impact shook the ground, sending leaves spiraling into the air. Run! Raiden barked. Kaela didn't hesitate this time. She grabbed Eric's hand and ran. Branches tore at her again, but she barely felt them. Her only focus was the small hand in hers, the sound of his breathing, the pounding of her own heart. Mama, I'm scared. I know, baby, she whispered, pulling him closer as they ran. I've got you. I've got you. Behind them, the clash of power echoed through the forest. Then, a scream. Kaela froze mid-step. Her heart dropped. Raiden, she breathed before catching herself. No, she couldn't think about him. Not now. Not when her son's life was on the line. She forced herself forward again. But Eric suddenly stopped. Mama, wait. She tugged his hand. We have to keep moving. No, he said, voice strangely calm. Kaela turned, panic rising. Eric's, please. His eyes lifted to hers. They were glowing brighter now. Not faint. Not flickering. Bright. Steady. Powerful. I can feel them, he said quietly. Kaela's blood ran cold. Feel who? The bad one, he replied. And him. Her chest tightened. Before she could ask more, a gust of wind tore through the trees. And then, Raiden appeared. He stumbled slightly as he landed, blood streaking his side, breath uneven. Kaela's heart twisted despite herself. You're hurt. I'll live, he said quickly, eyes scanning her and Eric's. Relief flickered across his face. Are you both all right? She hesitated, then nodded once. A beat of silence passed. Heavy. Complicated. Eric stepped forward, peeking around Kaela. Are you the one from my dreams? Both adults froze. Raiden's gaze snapped to the boy. What? Eric's tilted his head. I see you sometimes. You're always watching, making sure we're safe. Kaela's stomach dropped. Slowly, she turned to Raiden. What is he talking about? Raiden exhaled, tension filling his shoulders. I placed trackers around you. Guards. At a distance. You were never unprotected. Her eyes widened in disbelief. You what? I couldn't risk the council finding you, he said. Malric has been searching for years. And you didn't think I deserved to know? She demanded, hurt slicing through her voice. If you knew, you might have come back, he replied. And that would have put you in more danger. Kaela shook her head, overwhelmed. You don't get to make those choices for me. I know, he said quietly. That stopped her. Because there was no arrogance in his tone. No authority. Just regret. Before she could respond, a slow clap echoed through the trees. Well, how heartwarming. Kaela's blood turned to ice. Malric stepped into the clearing, completely unharmed. Raiden moved instantly, placing himself in front of them again. You should have stayed down, he growled. Malric smirked. And missed this reunion? I think not. His gaze slid to Eric's again. Such power in one so small. Do you even understand what he is? Kaela tightened her grip on her son. He's my child. He's more than that, Malric said softly. He's the future of the Dominion. A weapon. A ruler. No, she snapped. He's neither. Malric's expression hardened. You don't get to decide that. Raiden's voice dropped dangerously low. Neither do you. For a moment the air crackled with tension. Then Malric sighed. This is tiresome. He raised a hand, and everything changed. The ground trembled. Power surged outward in a violent wave. Kaela cried out as she was forced to her knees. Eric's clutched tightly against her. Raiden struggled to stand, muscles straining against the pressure. Malrik's voice echoed, amplified. This ends now. Eric's whimpered. Mama. Kaela held him tighter. It's okay. I'm here. But fear clawed at her chest. This was it. She couldn't protect him. Not from this. Tears blurred her vision as she pressed her forehead to his. I'm sorry. Something shifted. Eric's went still. Too still. Mama, he whispered. Then he pulled away. Kaela frowned. Eric's. His eyes burned now, glowing like molten gold. Stop hurting her. The voice wasn't a child's. It was something deeper. Older. Stronger. The pressure in the air snapped. Malrik staggered back, shock flashing across his face. Impossible. Eric stepped forward, small but unyielding. You don't get to touch my family, he said. Power exploded outward from him. Raw. Uncontrolled. Terrifying. Malrik was thrown back, crashing into the trees with a force that shook the forest. Silence followed. Heavy. Unbelieving. Kaela stared at her son, heart racing. Eric's. His glow flickered, then faded, and suddenly he was just a child again. He swayed. Kaela rushed forward, catching him before he hit the ground. Eric's. Stay with me, baby. I'm tired, he murmured. I know, she said, tears falling freely now. I've got you. Raiden approached slowly, his expression filled with awe. He's stronger than any alpha I've ever seen. Kaela looked up sharply. He's not a weapon. I didn't say he was, Raiden replied. For once, there was no argument in his voice, only truth. A groan echoed from where Malrik had fallen. Raiden's expression hardened instantly. This isn't over. Kaela stood carefully, still holding Eric's. Then we end it. He met her gaze, and something shifted between them. Not the same as before. Not blind trust, but something steadier. Equal. Come back with me, he said. We can expose him. End this properly. Kaela hesitated. Every instinct told her to run, to disappear again. But she looked down at her son, at the power he couldn't hide anymore. Running wouldn't protect him now. Only the truth would. Slowly she nodded. Fine, she said. But this time there are no secrets. Raiden inclined his head. No secrets. And for the first time since everything fell apart, Kaela believed him. The Dominion loomed ahead of them by dawn. Stone walls. Towering gates. A place Kaela once feared, and once called home. As they stepped inside, whispers spread instantly. The Omega who ran. The king who followed. The child between them. Everything was about to change. And this time, Kaela wouldn't be silent. If you've made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments, because this story is just getting started.